Check the Heisenberg compensator on your medical transporter, and let's talk about my
Initial codes. Part 1. Initial codes. Part 1. Initial codes.
Hey Trek friends, we're reviewing the 6th episode of Strange New Worlds, Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. I've got a City in the Clouds worth of spoilers if you'd like to return to the surface now. I was about 40 minutes into the runtime of this one thinking, wow, I don't have a dislike in my notes yet. So let's start with the elephant in the room. I've got a massive outright hatred for killing a kid that's built up through this episode. I thought we were headed for a better iteration of the Dauphine here. And boy, was I wrong. While the death of this brilliant child is supposed to keep this people living in the clouds, and is clearly an analogy for Pike to sacrificing yourself for others, this episode did not need to go there in the end. This reminds me of Vault 11 from the Fallout video game universe, where a group of people were locked into a fallout shelter and every year their leader must sacrifice themselves or everyone would die. Turned out all they had to do was not sacrifice someone and the door would open. I was waiting here to find out that these people's ancestors created an unlimited power source or something, and this was their test to prove the society was ready. Nope. No last-minute heroics pay off in this one. These people have spaceships. They claim to have studied ways to not have to sacrifice children for centuries to no avail. Then a better solution would be to abandon the planet of lava where you have to live in the clouds at the expense of kids. Now that I think I've made my point, let's talk about what does work in this episode. As Uhura makes her way through training in the various departments, we see her working with La'an in security this week. At first, La'an is the same stern tactical officer we've come to know. But I have a like for her wanting Uhura to present her findings to the captain. We see good leadership skills this week, giving praise where it's due. I really am enjoying the building up of Uhura this season. I've got 2 likes for furthering the story of M'Benga's daughter. The first is for sci-fi Hopscotch. The brilliant first citizen of Magellan finds M'Benga's daughter in the transporter and uses science to create this amazing game of hopscotch, and some much-needed playtime for his terminally ill child. The second like is for this kid's scientist father giving M'Benga some medical data that's the beginning of a cure. I'm really enjoying this plotline of the girl in the pattern buffer, and I hope we find a cure for her by the end of the season. Early on, I wanted to give Pike's single-episode romance a like, but Alora's tears at the end ring hollow. She just can't understand why Pike doesn't understand child sacrifice. And that killed this single-episode romance for me. There's a ton of ways this episode could have ended better, but since it didn't, this is easily the worst episode of the season for me, and one of my least favorite episodes of New Trek in general to date. The last 2 weeks, I've generally liked the episodes, despite giving out more dislikes than likes. This week, I won't mix words. I hate this episode due to its ending. If anyone's wondering about Best 5, Worst 5 this week, I had a ton of real-life stuff come up. I'm almost done with Planetary Rulers and will be bringing it out on Friday. Till next week, keep your kids alive and happy, and I've been your host, Dustin Wing.